With Fisk behind bars, what's next?
And the city's safer than ever. Maybe Peter Parker can have more of a life.
Are you in trouble? Do you need money?
No, I mean, I'm a little behind on my rent, but no, I'm fine.
Take care of this place. It represents the best part of me.
This is Miles. He's gonna be helping out around here.
For acts of extraordinary bravery. I'm the one who kept order in this city!
What is this? Devil's breath.
What is happening to our city, Yuri?
I don't know. Feels like the end of the world. Maybe it is.
Peter Parker, how the hell are you?
The city is in danger. It needs our help.
All of our help.
All right, well, call the play, coach.
Gang of costume nutjobs is taking the city apart piece by piece. Time I return the favor.
This is opportunity knocking.
You know the closer you get to them, the more you become a target, right?
The closer I get, the better chance we have to stop them.
I've ordered Silver Sable and her team to shoot you on sight. This city's had enough of your vigilantism. You're officially an enemy of the people.
Come on, Peter.
Your city and everything you care about will be destroyed. The people will beg you for help, but you won't be able to save them.
Get more backup.
Wait!
We've got to play this just right. Please stop!
Maybe the city needs our friend more than you think.
How do I call you? I mean, you have like a cell phone in your pockets or something?
Get more backup. And lock down the airspace.
Yuri, you okay?
If he makes it out of that building, we're gonna lose him.
I'm gonna go,
Do your thing.
Yes! Today's the day, Willie! Heads up!
Hey, where you going?
Catch! I'll clear a path. Follow me!
Get out of here, Spider-Man! We got you!
Sorry to break it to you, but you do not got this, buddy. Oh, thanks for the confidence boost, guys.
Enough talk! That's not fair!
I guess this is what they call a hostile workplace.
Take him down before he knocks us all out! Help!
What's up?
I just wanted to make sure we're still on for dinner tomorrow night.
Totally. Listen, I gotta go.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too. That's enough out of you. More rockets? A little excessive, don't you think?
You're not bulletproof! destroy everything. Look out! Look around you. I do this. What have you ever done with Madden?
Well, there was that time I took down a pompous, overstuffed crime lord before breakfast.
Without me, the scum I kept in check will run rampant, and it'll be your fault.
Been a long, tough road, Chris. So you guys were in bed with Fisk all along? Oh no, I'll never get that image out of my head. So your plan didn't work. On to plan B, getting kicked in the face. Kill him already. Jail. No reason.
Blow him away!
So not cool.
Bring it, ballerina! Get down here! Spread out!
Ah, backup's here. Why don't I have backup? All right, nobody likes me. And they got way surprise.
Where'd he come from? He's not right there!
They always look so cozy whipped up like that. Should web him from above. Whoa, careful.
Would you look at that? Half the crime tower's back up already.
When Spider Cop's on the job, come hell or high water, the job gets...
Nope, nope, nope. Nope.
She'd never admit it, but the chief was warming up to Spider Cop. His casual disregard for by-the-book thinking was a breath of fresh air. She'd come around. Someday.
I am joined by Brian, who is creative director on Marvel Spider-Man, and you're going to be telling us a little bit about some of the gameplay footage we're seeing?
Yeah, so this is from the first couple hours of the game. This is a little bit further along. Pete has kind of defeated Fisk, and now we're seeing the introduction of a new threat in the city, the Inner Demons. So he's made his way to this art gallery where the demons are basically using their force to get an item from this gallery manager.
So this is some of the stealth?
Yeah,
We've mentioned stealth mechanics in the past.
Yeah, so actually this is one of the missions where we kind of start to introduce some of the more stealth mechanics in the game. So obviously in a lot of situations you can kind of jump down and fight, but in this kind of one, this is where we kind of teach you can go a little bit slower. So in this situation here, you can actually use your web shooters to get an enemy's attention. So you shoot it down the ground. He'll start to kind of hear the sound, notice over, and that kind of opens up for an opportunity to do a takedown move. So you'll do a little perch takedown move here, and he kind of web cocoons them up.
So that's not linear, like that was your choice to do that?
Yeah. I mean, in this mission, we kind of suggest to do that, but in the course of the game, you can. There'll be like there's a mission, a couple missions later where we can let you do that. Oh, in this situation, you can do it from a
that's
event.
so cool.
Yeah. And then, so you can kind of do perch takedowns, you can do one from event, and then of course, if a guy's walking, you can walk from behind if you're being quiet, and you can also do like takedown moves from behind. So we have stuff from above, from below, and on the same level.
I guess what's important as well is there's a mix, right? Because it's not just about web shooting. The combat is also really, really fluid.
Yeah. I mean, we really want the character is very acrobatic. Whether we're talking about combat traversal, we kind of use terms like fluidity, flow, and we want.
Those are bingo words.
I know. And so in this situation, you can actually use your webs on certain environment items that will kind of draw people's attention. So right now in this situation, he has two. If you ping the world, you'll see that little danger sign. So it actually shows the state at which the enemy is in.
Okay.
And then you can actually use an item to get one guy to turn around. He starts to check it out, and now you can actually take out this enemy. So it's kind of a way to break up the, say if there's guys are in a situation where you can stealthily take them out right away, you can kind of create that opportunity just like you did there. Okay, so now here's the thing that makes Spider-Man traversal.
This is what everybody went wild for when this was announced.
Yeah. Well, of course, now as I say that, he's picking up a backpack. So in the world, there'll be a bunch of different backpacks in the world, and what's really cool is that people want to know what's the history of our Spider-Man, and what you do is when you pick up these items, it'll actually reveal an item in the backpack, and you'll actually, if you go to the pause menu, Pete will actually talk about that item, so you get a better, a little more backstory about our Spider-Man.
Oh, look at this. I mean, will people recognize landmarks?
Yes, we have both landmarks that if you've been in New York City, they'll be familiar with, like Grand Central Terminal, but we also have familiar Marvel landmarks like Avengers Tower and such. Yeah.
And you'll be able to climb those?
Yes. Okay, so here's something I want to show.
Right.
So now you can actually, we have an upgrade where you can unlock the ability to do tricks in the game. So we have a bunch of different tricks. People have been asking for more swing animations. Well, here you go. So you'll be able to combo different moves together and get a little XP boost for doing that. So it's another way to upgrade your character and also look pretty cool while swinging.
Is it just a button combination that you press?
Yeah. You'll have different button combinations, and it's just it's that plus a little controller input, and yeah.
That looks really, really cool.
Yeah, and it definitely adds a little more. You can have a little more fun with traversal. It's already pretty fun, but that's something we've never shown up until now. Everybody keeps asking if there's even more things to do in traversal, and I'm like, just wait. Here we go.
So with traversal, then, if you're just new to the game, can you just start and look this cool from the beginning? Or
You can look
upgrade
pretty cool. I mean, I would say that I think one of the things I'm really excited about is that players can pretty much pick up the game and swing and feel like Spider-Man right away. But over the course of time, they're going to learn the ins and outs of wall run and perch jumps and tricks, and to look much more stylish as they swing around the city.
So
another
lighting.
thing is too is, like you said, there's multiple times a day. So we have sunset, we have nighttime, we have daytime, we have a little more overcast and raining with weather. So there will be multiple times a day. A lot of people wonder about that. So we will have fully supported, and we use it as a narrative device. We do want certain things to be communicated, the tone of the game, where you are in the story, and lighting goes a long way with that.
So is it a day-night cycle, but then you'll force it into certain
So
times
it's not a day-night cycle. We actually have multiple times a day that we switch upon during during the main story, and then but once you do finish the game, finish the main story, you actually can go to research stations and change it to any time of day.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just sort of a little bit of the rain, I think, there. This is beautiful.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing is, we definitely want you to feel like you never have to slow down if you don't want to. So if you hit an item, you hit a wall, you can run up it. If you run into a car, you can leap over it. You know, we added some parkour elements, whether you're on the ground or on a rooftop, that lets you just keep going. We don't have fall damage. You know, hey, we've been saying that Spider-Man's been doing it for 8 years. He doesn't need to take damage. So also, it can be sometimes a little bit frustrating. Okay, so here's actually, when you're swimming around, there'll be a bunch of crimes in the game. This is a car chase. And as you can see, all the pedestrians on the sidewalk are running away. They're all reacting.
Camera angle's great.
Yeah, it's really cool, very cinematic. And what's really great about the crime system is that as you progress in the game, new crime types will become available. So like they'll basically, they'll get more and more severe as you go deeper into the main story, because the story gets much more dangerous. And of course, here's combat. You know, like we talked a lot about, is this idea of an acrobatic improviser, using webs, using your gadgets. I mean, you can see he looks like a ping pong ball, like in the like we really want to be able to dodge, flip, bounce, jump, swing, everything you could possibly want to do, and really give players a lot of opportunities to swing, to experiment. In the world, a lot of environment interactions, that lead to different effects, like electricity. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I think, from a development standpoint, I got to give the combat team a lot of credit, because they really went much deeper with the combat system than I ever believed we thought we would originally. So
I saw earlier on bonus objectives. How do they work?
Yeah, so certain crimes you'll see, basically you get sub-objectives. So if you complete those sub-objectives, you'll actually get more crafting currency, so you can craft gadgets, gadget upgrades, suits, and suit mods. So it's kind of like hey, you can just stop the crime, or you can stop the crime with a little bit more flair, and you'll get rewarded for it. So this is actually a cinematic from the beginning of the game, where Pete wakes up that morning with hey, there's going to be a raid on this tower. Captain Yuri Watanabe says, all right, come help me out. And you'll just notice he's wearing
that suit.
His classic suit.
Yeah,
so the advanced suit, the white spider suit, doesn't come on board till later in the game. And when you play the game, you'll find out how it gets crafted. But yeah, and so this is the opening of the game, is basically you taking down the big bad of the world, which is Wilson Fisk. So this is a pretty awesome opening. This is where you'll kind of, as you swing the Fist Tower, you'll get the basics for traversal, and as you're moving your way through Fist Tower, you'll kind of get the basics of combat.
So really, the word tutorial sometimes is a bit of a dirty word, but really this is where you're learning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say it's not a tutorial in some way, aspects.
You've got to learn.
You got to learn somehow, and I think that's something we try to find that balance between making the opening feel epic and cool, but at the same time making sure you understand the ins and outs, the basics of our Spider-Man.
But when we were chatting earlier, you were saying, he has been Spider-Man for 8 years, so you're not having to do that thing where he's just learning his powers and learning. You're like, you can just go in and be a badass. You're 8 years into this.
Yeah, I mean, it's that balance between okay, he's been Spider-Man for 8 years, but you've been Spider-Man for about maybe
8 minutes.
8 minutes, 8 minutes at this point. So it's finding that balance. So this is after you kind of finish the atrium, you're gonna make your way up Fist Tower, and what I love here is that so he has an initial call with Yuri, and of course even in interiors he'll use his wall crawl. So he'll be
you just automatic, run up.
You just basically run up and start. He'll just which one you start going, and then you can even he starts wall running. He starts wall running up this area. And so he's getting an update from you right now, what's going on in the outside, what's going on in what she wants him to do on inside Fist Tower, because basically they're worried he's gonna skip town, so they're trying to get to him before he does this. But what I really love is I talked a lot about the idea of worlds colliding. So during this part, all of a sudden Aunt May calls, and
this is just a normal call.
This normal call, and she asks what the racket is, and he just says basically, I'm watching a superhero movie, and he continues the conversation while he's fighting bad guys. Okay, that's an interesting idea. Sorry to cut it off.
No, go.
Cut myself off. You can kind of ping the world, and he can see through walls. He can see the enemy threats. You'll see him basically drop in on some Fist guys who are trying to basically wipe a bunch of data and Soren has to stop them before the data gets all erased. So you can see a lot of environment interactions. We try to make sure that not only are you paying attention to the enemies, but also your surroundings in terms of what you can use to your advantage.
So when you're using stuff to your advantage, like when you are grabbing stuff and swinging it around, that's you control that swing, or that movement is just very pre-programmed?
You actually can control that. You can control where you throw it, and then with upgrades, you can actually control how many times you spin it around. So, you can have.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
I thought it was like just pre-programmed. Once you've grabbed it, the AI takes
no,
over.
No,
and
you can actually influence it. And of course, here he's having a little conversation with his favorite friend, Wilson Fisk. And here's another sense of he's definitely taunting Fisk a little bit as this is going on. So. And of course Fisk gets pretty angry once he realizes that Spider-Man has downloaded everything. So again, this is another example of being able to yank guys down.
It literally says yank enemies.
Yeah, and then so like right there, he grabbed. You can grab guys.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can do it in midair. And what's really cool, one of the moves I love is to punch a guy up in the air, and if you actually juggle him with your web shooters and then yank him down, because he has webs on him, he'll actually stick down to the ground.
You've really thought of everything.
We tried a lot, and there's, if you build up basically focus, that allows you to either use as health regenerate, or actually to do a finishing move. So, that's something you can also upgrade as the game goes on. So we also try to make sure every single time we introduce a new enemy type, we make sure that people understand what's going to be, what the threat is, and have little fun enemy intros with that.
So you're going to see different enemy types as the game goes through?
Yeah, a lot. We have a lot, depending on who the main villain is, or
nice.
We'll have a bunch, especially the inner demons have a bunch of different enemy types that you'll see introduced, and a lot of them use that. That's my favorite, when you actually juggle the gun in midair and then you pin them to the wall with your webs.
So the web shooter then, so obviously as you're using it, that bar is depleting.
Yeah, so basically what you do is as you rapid fire, they decrease, and then after time it refills. But you can actually upgrade that gadget so it has more shots at first, as well as how fast it recharges. So here's an element, like we said, we added more ability to parkour. So if there's an obstacle in his way, he just kind of runs over it.
Really smooth.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do that whether you're in this building here, or you're on a rooftop, or you're on the street level. You want to make sure you can also jump off a wall and punch a guy. So yeah, we want to make sure that there's a lot of different ways to take down enemies. And like I said, use the environment, whether you're grabbing it or actually using it as a launching off point to defeat enemies.
What are we seeing here? What's this little Spider-Man symbol on the left
next to the combo meter? Okay, so that's actually your focus bar. That's actually what you do. So as you do better in combat, you're building that focus bar, and you can either use it to gain back some health, or if you kind of have a full bar, you can use it to do a takedown move on an enemy. And those are pretty spectacular. They have cool cameras and stuff like that. So at this point, he thinks he's working with the police. He realizes something is up, and his classic spider sense goes off. And he realizes that Fisk has been working, these guys have been working they're on Fisk payroll. And again, so a new enemy type, now we have a shielded enemy, and we teach you how to take him down.
So when we are upgrading, because obviously we're earning XP this whole time, we can unlock more combat moves as well as just gadgets?
Yeah, so the way we do it is earning XP gives you skill points, and those skill points can learn into new combat and traversal skills. And then doing stuff in the open world, those give you crafting currency, so you can spend on crafting new suits, suit powers, suit mods, and gadgets. So here's actually an intro to fighting Fisk. One thing we always talk about is Spider-Man having a sense of humor, using that to kind of either piss off the guy he's fighting or to calm himself down. And he's making a joke right here about don't forget to write in your memoirs, don't forget to put the hyphen between Spider and Man, which is a joke you hear online a lot. So yeah, I just want to make sure that...
Topical, I like that. It's a capital S in the middle of PlayStation. It's a hyphen between the Spider and the Man.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that we get that right. So this now leads to an epic fight between Fisk and Spider-Man. It's basically 8 years in the making.
We should say again, if anyone's just watching this is still quite early on in the game.
This is literally the first mission in the game.
This is how epic you've got it from the beginning.
This is literally the first mission in the game, and I think the thing we wanted to do was, if we put someone like Wilson Fisk in the game, we wanted people to understand that this is, after taking him down, Pete finally feels like, hey, now the city should be safe. I can kind of have more of a Peter Parker life. Still keep the city safe as Spider-Man, but hey, I have an opportunity now. Maybe spend more time at work. Maybe talk about those relationships outside work a little bit more. But what he realizes that there's a scene that happens after this. After you, guess what? Spoiler alert: you defeat Fisk. And
Otherwise, the game's really short.
And he says, Fisk says, in 1 month, you wish you had me back. And the truth is, it's actually probably wishes Fisk was back, because it was a little bit. It was actually a safer city with Fisk in there rather than the Inner Demons, Mr. Negative, and eventually the Sinister Six.
Yeah, now you've shown some of the other bad guys off. Maybe E3 we saw some as well. That was one of the big. Yeah, just not all of them from my understanding, just a few. But the nice thing, I suppose, is you can create your own world, which is what you've done, because this is a standalone universe and story. But I'm guessing you haven't really messed too much with the villains and stuff, so people still recognize?
Yeah, I would say that we want to make sure that we're being very respectful to the original artists and the writers who created these characters. We definitely take some liberties here and there to either modernize them or to put our own kind of little spin on them. But there should be no mistaking that's a Wilson Fisk. And so, another thing we've talked a lot about here is worlds colliding, Peter and Spider-Man's world colliding. And here you see early on in the game, you start to meet other people on Peter's life. So you meet Martin Lee, who at that point you only know as the guy who owns the feast shelters. Later, he will be revealed as Mr. Negative. Now you have Aunt May. And here's an example of they're throwing actually an anniversary party for May for working at a feast, and he's kind of trying to keep her distracted. So when you watch the cinematic, she's talking about MJ, and she's asking they have beautiful babies, and he freaks out. And those awkward moments that you would expect from a Peter Parker experience really play out in the scene really, really well. And you start to kind of see, one thing is, a lot of people, when it comes to villains, we want them to have very believable motivations. And you see Martin Lee as a very good guy, a guy who's giving back to the community. But there's something driving him as Mr. Negative that's very personal, and you'll understand why he's doing what he's doing to the city, to Norman Osborn, as you play the game.
Now, do you play as Peter Parker and not as Spider-Man?
Yeah, you actually do. Yeah, you actually in this mission here, going to visit Feast on May. Before this cinematic even starts, you can walk around Feast, introduce yourself to people. If you're at the lab, you can talk. You can hang out with your mentor. There's different things at the lab you can do. So we'll have multiple missions at playing as Peter, as obviously majority being Spider-Man, but we also want you to show the Peter Parker side of his life and go beyond just cutscenes. Cool. And same thing with MJ. MJ will be a playable character in the game as well. There'll be certain missions throughout the main story where she'll be playable, and she has her own gameplay mechanics, and we'll be introducing new mechanics as you go further in the game with her.
I look forward to seeing the B-roll on that one.
I don't.
You're like, maybe you can wait till launch.
Yeah, you can wait till launch on that one. I think. I don't think we have any B-roll on MJ.
Well, thank you very much for talking us through some of this footage. I really appreciate it. I know Dave got hands-on and really enjoyed it. We're going to have more coming up on Spider-Man on the channel, so please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because you don't want to miss anything from the world of PlayStation.
For the players.
Feeling like a wardrobe change. Been there, worn that. Yes! Now that's a suit! Yeah, definitely a keeper.
is secure, but I can't reach them over radio. Their comms must be down. What's your status?
Already here.
Yuri? I thought you said it was secure.
It was. Let's go. Maybe it's not as bad as it looks.
Love the optimism. But in my experience, when it looks bad, it's usually worse. Look out! Yuri!
I'm slipping!
Gotcha. Hold on! You okay?
Yeah.
Welcome to the party! Just in time for the fireworks! Looks like we made parole, boys! I'm out!
Electro? Why is he letting everyone out?
I'll head for the main control center and see how bad the situation is.
Got it. I'll go join the party. Everyone just quietly go back into your cells and lock the door behind you. Okay? Please?
Spider! Teach you to mess with me! Get him down here!
Incoming! Like fish in a barrel. That doesn't sound good. Oh, hi, Rhino!
Hope you like surprise, Spider!
Surprise? What is he talking about?
Hey, what's your status?
Me? Just trapped in a prison with every criminal I've put away in the last 8 years. No biggie.
Electro must be working for someone.
This is too good to be true.
Scorpion, can you hold on a minute? I was in the middle of a phone call and it was business.
Charge him! Don't let up!
Lost you for a second there. You okay?
Not really. Electro, Rhino, and now Scorpion are all on the loose. What's going on in the rest of the prison?
Camera system's almost done. I'll give you a sit rep soon.
Okay, I'll keep tracking Electro.
Whoa! Come on, Spider-Man. I thought this was a chase.
Gotta stop this guy. If you tell me who you're working for, I'll go easy on you.
Can't stop it. But I'm flattered that you still try.
Nobody ever takes me up on that offer.
Gotcha.
Vulture! What?
Long time no see. We're going to have so much fun.
Sorry, no time to talk.
Still with me, huh?
Okay, I got the security cameras back online.
How's it look?
Well, it looks like the entire population of the raft has escaped. That makes 5 of your worst enemies that are now on the loose.
For a second there, I thought you were serious.
I am serious. I have to go. Some of them are heading into the city.
This is nuts.
Keep chasing. Party's almost over. control! Stop! How do you like my new suit?
Dashing. Where'd you get it?
It's an exclusive club.
Remember, he said not to kill him.
Good idea. In fact, we don't have to do this at all if you don't want to.
We definitely want to.
You?
Hey, do you have time to check something out for me?
For you, Yuri, anything. I'm on my way. Hey guys, bird watching? I saw some pigeons over there. Can't have the ones inside feeling left out. Going down. MJ, I'm at the first location on your list, and guess what I found?
Demons?
Give the lady a prize. See if you can figure out what they're up to while I introduce myself. You're just not very observant. Oh, sorry, did I startle you?
play the quiet game.
Spider-Man, Shocker has escaped, and now he's robbing a bank on East 31st.
What happened? I thought he was behind bars.
He was, but one of the guards just walked up to his cell and released him, then gave him his suit back.
I knew Shocker was working for someone. What did you get out of the guard?
Wish I could ask him, but he's dead. Whoever made him release Shocker didn't want any loose ends.
Damn.
Looking at the security footage, the guard was in some kind of trance. And it might have been the lighting, but it looked like his eyes were glowing.
Well, that's creepy. Okay, I'll see what I can get out of Shocker when I get to the bank. Herman! Long time no see. Hey, I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that's a parole violation. Oops, guess we're stuck in here for a while. Want to play 20 questions? No? How about we thumb wrestle? Okay, face punch it is. Whoa! Your gauntlets are all digital now, aren't they?
Have it your way. You wanna fight? Let's fight!
Man, can't wait to put you back behind bars so we can talk science. Remember our first fight? Me so young and stupid. You just stupid.
You talk too much!
Well, that's a matter of opinion. I mean, are there any standard metrics for how much talking one should do? And who determines the ideal ratio of talking versus not talking? Also, how would you measure it? Now I can do some real damage. Why are you doing this, Herman?
Don't kill me!
Come clean, I can help you!
You really want to help me? Don't let me have the money!
Sorry, not gonna happen. Don't use banks anymore. You're lucky you found actual cash. If you really want to rob banks, try day trading. It's all the rage. Oh, come on, Herman.
Not even sure these guys are people. Could be anything under those masks.
Wait, did you say masks? This one's gonna hurt. These mascots! What do they want the money for?
Don't know! Don't care! Soon as I finish the job, I'm gone!
me! Give up now and we can protect you!
No way! You ain't see what I do! What the? You son of a...
Okay, last chance to give up. This time I really mean it.
Where's going?
Okay, I was kidding before. Now is your last chance. Seriously. Sorry, Herman. You brought this on yourself. Literally.
PlayStation.
Right. This is not what we saw at the conference. So where are we? Like, what's happening?
So what we showed last night was one of our main story missions, right? And that's, obviously a big tie to our main story, what's happening with Peter. But a big part of being the fantasy of being Spider-Man is to swing around New York City. And we're going to deliver that big time. We create our biggest open world we've ever made. And in between our missions, our main missions, you can do a bunch of different open world activities, crimes, collectibles, quests, everything, and really fulfill that Spider-Man experience.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you handle that transition between huge open world traversal, which is so crucial to the Spider-Man experience, and it's on a massive scale, but then transitioning from that into the combat, which is quite focused and close? Like, what challenges do you have to overcome in that transition there?
It's really hard, but I'll let Ryan, because he's a lot smarter than me, answer it.
Well, I don't know. It actually depends a lot on our animation team.
Right.
Like, our animation team does this so much for our transitions and missions, either getting into them or even just beats in the mission, right, between a combat setup and the next traversal challenge. So a lot of animation, a lot of design work goes into that too, making some of our levels designed so that you can load into them smoothly.
Spider-Man,
I mean, this is what I'm here for. Oh.
Look at that.
Traversal is so, I mean, how did you approach this? Because this is what everyone wants, isn't it? That experience of swinging through New York with Spider-Man. It's such an iconic and crucial facet of feeling like you're Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was the first thing we started working on. Immediately once we got this project going, started working on traversal. We knew it had to be physics-based. It had to start with webs attaching to buildings. So that was super, super important. From there, it was just finding what felt right. Making sure that we were helping the player get around things and over things in a really fast and acrobatic way. Making sure that all the animations that connect you, again, are looking amazing. And yeah, it just took a ton of work to find all the different places and things that you wanted to do, like the fire escapes that Jacinda's team needed on the buildings. We didn't have those initially, right? It's just square buildings because it's a test level, right? But then once we looked at what does New York actually look like, there had to be fire escapes.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the challenges that we had, that we wanted to make sure that it's like a superhero playground.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to traverse on ceilings, like walls, the ground. So if you guys play a demo, you should definitely check it out, because every single square foot of New York City is traversable.
Fantastic. And how did you strike that balance between first creating a New York that is authentic and looks like New York, but at the same time, I guess you've got to make it a place that is fun for Spider-Man to move around. So did you take any artistic liberties with certain places just to make them more fun to swing through? And
You know, for the most part, it's fairly accurate to what New York City would actually be. We actually did make some buildings a little bit taller, because you do need a certain amount of height to swing from a building. But because we actually have web attachments, like, for example, you can actually swing through Central Park, the trees are a little bit higher, and there's probably a lot more trees than you would expect. But that's how we made the city a little bit more easy to traverse.
Awesome.
What about bringing Spider-Man to life? Because even on the streets, the movements, we get a little bit of this, a little bit of a joke.
Yeah, so when we started working on this project, one thing we talked about was we wanted, New York is a character for us, right? It's its own character, and part of that is how lively it is. We want to have a lot of cars, a lot of vehicles, a lot of people, but it'd be weird if he just didn't interact with them. So, he can, instead of punching them, he'll like salute or wave, and then some characters you can actually interact with, like we can do high fives, we can take a little selfie with them and everything. So, yeah, I mean, we want it to be even though he swings a lot, there are going to be players who are going to go down the ground, and we want to have opportunities where you can interact with the NPCs. They'll also like run away if there's a crime nearby. They'll sometimes clap and be happy when you succeed. It's just one of those things that's, like I said, New York was really important for us to get right. Not only just the look and the feel, but also just how alive it is.
Yeah, this is just fantastic. It's like, this is what Rob hasn't stopped talking about. This is what I've always wanted. I just want to swing around. But now I'm like, maybe I just want to be on the ground.
It's been a dream project for a lot of us in Insomniac. So to see it, I just want to grab a controller and play it when it's awesome.
So do I, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's just this screen is pretty amazing.
We are saying it is being played live at the moment. It's just, we just wanted you guys to be able to tell us all about the game instead.
Yeah, it's I mean, and this is, like I said, one thing about this is like, so Adam just completed what we call a Fisk base. There's a bunch of these different Fisk installments out in the city, and as you complete these open world activities, you'll earn these tokens, and you can spend the tokens to customize your Spider-Man. We always want you to be the Spider-Man that you want to be, so you can unlock new suits, new suit powers, suit mods, new gadgets, and upgrade those along the way. So.
Can we get some examples?
Sure. So you see the little icon in the top right-hand corner is called the Web Blossom.
Yep.
So that's actually a suit power that you can unlock. And do you remember in the first combat room from Raft, he does that big twirly thing and the webs go everywhere?
Yeah.
That's the Web Blossom. It's like a super move. Cool. And most of the suits actually come with a suit power, and you actually can mix and match them. So say if you like our Noir suit, but you want Web Blossom, you can take that and place it on there, or, whatever the Iron Spider suit comes with, you could take that and place it on there. So
can you change on the fly, or do you have to go to?
You have to go to the menu to change it. But and then like for example, he has this web shooter attached. You can upgrade the web shooter to have more shots, faster reload, and then same thing for a bunch of our gadgets. And like look at that New York City.
I was like, behold the power of the PS4.
Yeah, I mean,
it's right there.
I mean,
what was this? An applause from the audience.
Good job.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it's by far the biggest game we've ever made, and
yeah, that's still a guilty pleasure of mine because I like to just climb to the highest buildings and just do a swan dive.
Yeah.
Wow.
It feels awesome.
Yeah, so they're actually playing. The demo is actually only a very small portion of the playable area in the city. So we have multiple districts, and this is really basically one district with maybe a couple corners of others, but it's a massive world.
And so how do you bring a massive world to life with activities then? Because, okay, swinging around is fun, but we want to do stuff in that world too.
Ryan. I'm sending all the hard ones to him.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. We have a lot of different activities that are in the world. In this demo, there's actually our research stations. Everything comes with a story reason for it. There's also our dynamic crime system. There's that Web Blossom we were talking about. You can see they're stuck in there now inside that little cubby. So the dynamic crime system is there all the time. And so you actually earn the tokens through that and then put those back in your upgrades. And then as you go through the story, different other activities unlock across the world.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the cool things about the city is that it's constantly evolving,
Yeah.
The citizens evolve, the activities evolve as the story evolves.
She's actually pointing out
another
something.
thing is actually, at certain points, they'll actually, the people in the world will actually point out things that you can do, like they pointed to an activity in the world, so.
And off you go.
Off you go.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for 8 years.
Yeah,
this game.
Right.
What was behind the decision to make him a more experienced Spider-Man?
So I think when we were early on, we were talking about the story and the kind of story we wanted to tell. we knew right away we didn't want to do an origin story because people told us pretty quickly they don't want origin stories. And, coincidentally, the studio side was doing the younger Spider-Man, which is a great... So we thought, what would be a good time in his life to explore? And I just remember back when after I graduated college, what life was like. It's like that, and you're finally an adult now. You're paying your own bills. You have a job for the first time. You're trying to make a name for yourself. So we just thought that would be a good opportunity to explore for Peter. And they're so accessible to people who aren't the hardest core fans, right? So we worked really hard with whether it's design, art, character, UI, to make sure, and the story, to make sure that we're educating people who Yuri Watanabe is, even who Aunt May is, or Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative. We want to make sure that whether it's actually in the game, whether you're playing a mission, or even you're going through our UI, that we educate you on who these people are, because we can't assume that everybody knows the characters like we do, right? That's just unfair, because our job is to know who these characters are, right? But I think we want to make sure that it has a level of accessibility. I think everything we do, whether it's swinging, combat, upgrading his character, and then our story and our lore, there's a level of accessibility to it. We want as many people to play this as possible. Yeah. I think that's what the comics and the movies do really, really well.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, in Marvel stories, first and foremost, all of the characters are human, right? Who just happen to have extraordinary things happen to them, or happen to have extraordinary abilities, and that's what we're telling here. We're telling a human story, and I think that players who even if they're not Spider-Man fans will find this story very relatable. So.
I totally agree. I think that was the biggest thing we said. As much as it's awesome superhero fantasy, it has to be a human story, and I think that we want it to be a great, interesting story, even if you didn't have the superhero. That's just, that's the layer we put on top, and it's, like I said, it's much of a Peter Parker story as it is a superhero, as a Spider-Man story.
I think the other thing is that we worked really close with Marvel to find out the identity of those characters, really what defines that character, and then work from that in our universe. That's something Brian and Bill Roseman at Marvel worked on really long.
Yeah, the one thing to remember is this is not based on the movie, or it's not based on a particular comic story. It's our own Spider-Man universe, and the mantra was we want to respect the traditions of the franchise, but we also want to don't be afraid to mix things up. Yeah. So, for example, in our world, up into this game, Wilson Fisk has been the big bad. It's all about taking down Wilson Fisk, and then once he's out, it opens the door to new threats. So, and the great thing working with Marvel is they've been so open to pretty much everything. And there's some really big things in the game that we haven't revealed yet that I think are going to surprise a lot of people, that they were they went for that. And people like Bill and Eric and Mike, they've been unbelievable collaborators on this, along with Sony.
And it's quite amazing that you've been given the freedom to create your own Spider-Man universe. Can you remember, I don't know if you can pinpoint a specific moment, but the first day you guys worked on this game and you knew you were going to be creating your own Spider-Man universe, what were the first ideas that came into your head?
I would say the first thing you do is you start to fanboy out. Originally, you're like, well, I want this character, and he's going to do this, and they're going to do that. And then the reality sets in that you have to make a Spider-Man game, and you get freaked out to the point of there's so much, this character is beloved by so many people. And then you just break down what's really important about the character. There's so many people on the team that love the character. What are the common things we all love about him? And then it's just a really great collaboration between us, Sony, and Marvel. And also at the same time, I think that one thing I feel like in the last year or so that's really made this game feel really special is that it feels like an Insomniac game.
Right.
I remember reading an article a little while back about it was the 8 things we want to see from Spider-Man, and one of them was I want to see Insomniac DNA part of it. So if you look at his suit powers, his gadgets, the humor, it feels like an Insomniac game. So I think it's one of the things I'm most proud of working on this. So again, it's all thanks to the team and all the work they do. They make it pretty special.
Let's talk a little bit about the combat since we're seeing it, because it's not just it's the way he's using the environment as well. We were ripping off car doors at one point. Now we're pulling shells down on people. It's a really expansive fighting system.
Yeah, making him an acrobatic improviser was one of the first sort of touchstones of the combat system. Getting a lot of webs in there and using the environment were 2 key things. And it took us a while to get all the web action we could get, like the swing kick that Adam just did was something that we had to sort of discover along the way. But we found out the more webs you have, the more unique Spider-Man can feel. Getting him really acrobatic, so the dodging, the leaping, going into the air is another really important thing for Spider-Man that lets us. I love that one, sorry, a little air finisher there. And there's our weapon wheel. Bringing that weapon wheel up, when we finally got that in the game, it was like, wow, that's an Insomniac. It feels like coming home as an Insomniac, you know?
Yeah.
We're seeing some of them in action now.
And like for us, our experience with Sunset Overdrive gave us a leg up on getting Traverse up and running. But for us, for combat, it was just something new. It was something we hadn't really done a big third-person action game like melee-based. So it took a little while, but I would say, a big hats off to the combat team because they really embraced the character, and whether it's the design, the gameplay programming team, the animation, and then just our character and rigging team, basically the entire studio.
Everybody.
Pretty much.
Everybody. Really, that's the thing. One thing about Insomniac, it's such a collaborative team and effort,
nice
and that it wouldn't be possible without stuff. So to finally see it all kind of gel and come together is pretty awesome. Like one of my favorite days at the studio was when we had pretty much everybody represented. We had UI there, everybody, and we were talking about different suit powers and different gadgets. And it was like, I remember walking out of there and telling Ted, our president and CEO, going, this is one of the best meetings I've been in 10 years of working at the company.
Wow.
So it's what makes Insomniac pretty special.
Then that's what goes back to what you said. It feels like your game.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah.
That makes me, hearing that, big old smile on my face.
Puts a smile on our face, too.
Yeah. That's how it should do. I'm sorry, I'm just watching the comp. I'm absolutely mesmerized.
You're more than welcome to just watch.
I'm like,
we can shut up and just watch it.
I know.
All right.
Now, this has been absolutely incredible. I guess this was like a side mission we picked up?
Yeah, so basically this was an Inner Demon base that, so after you take down Wilson Fisk, a new gang comes into town, the Inner Demons, and they have different installments throughout, and basically what you're doing, you're clearing these things out, and after you complete it, you actually get currency that you can use to customize your Spider-Man. So you could use it to unlock a new suit, an upgrade a gadget, or craft a new gadget, new suit mods, and I think it really, we realized really early as we showed the game early to people, the suits are really important to people,
yes,
really important.
Yeah.
We've heard all the requests. And
you're
yeah. And Gavin, if you're out there,
yeah.
Thank you. Gavin's our lead character artist. And having that carrot to kind of customize your Spider-Man how you want him to. And the trait is that however you look in the, when you're playing, if you go to a cutscene, he's wearing that outfit. So
that's what I like.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I was going to say, it was kind of funny because there's a lot of really big Spider-Man fans on the character team. So then originally we're like, oh, maybe we'll just do a couple. And then just more and more Spider-Man skins kept showing up. Sometimes even without requests, right?
My favorite is, so Gavin, our lead character artist, will maybe a Saturday morning, and he'll just text me a picture of a work in progress suit, and he'll just do his, come on, dot, dot, dot. And then I'm emailing Marvel going, so, dot, 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 and they usually give a thumbs up. So it's just all of us kind of fulfilling a dream that we've wanted for a long time. And when you see the other suits in the game, they look so damn good. Just the materials and everything, just it's so good.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm most excited about, and I can't wait for fans to play the game and check out how many suits there are. People have been tweeting us forever and asking for all these suits, and I wish I could tell you what they were, but you guys are going to have your minds blown when you actually...
There's a lot of suits.
I mean, I would quite happily right now just take this demo and just see what I could find in it, but maybe I wouldn't get that lucky. It says focus bar full. Tell me a little bit about what that means.
Right.
The focus bar is sort of represents how your flow in combat and traversal, and then you can use that for one of two things. You can either use it to instantly take down an enemy, or you can use it to heal. And so it's a little bit of risk reward in the gameplay system that lets your basically your performance determine how you want to succeed, right? So that's what you're doing, and you can actually build that up through acrobatic combat, whether it's using webs, getting into the air, or actually doing cool traversal moves as well, swinging around the open world.
Rob hasn't taken his eyes off the screen. I don't think Rob doesn't realize he's on the stage anymore. He's just like Spider-Man.
Yeah, do you have any questions for me?
Can you climb to the top of the Freedom Tower?
Yeah.
Can we do it?
Not in this
Not in
demo,
this
but
demo,
yeah,
no.
it's on the other side of the city, but yes, you can.
Empire State's in this.
Yeah.
In this
And also you can go to
region.
you can go to
I think
Avengers
that's our
Tower as
tallest
well
one.
if you want.
You
or
can climb
swing-
on anything.
Yeah, you can pretty much. There's nothing you can't climb on.
Is the whole of New York like available right from the get-go? Can you swing around the whole?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, we send you to Fisk Tower pretty quickly. Like the game opens up with you getting basically an alert that, hey, we're going after Fisk right now. Get your butt here, and you start swinging toward it. Then you finish that mission, and the whole city's open to you.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's yeah, you can explore it from pretty much the minute after you defeat Fisk.
Yeah, that's one of the things. There's so many things to do in the open world. It's super distracting.
Yeah.
So every time I play the game, I'm trying to test it
Yep.
or check out something, but then I get really, really distracted with the open world, and then I never get back to the golden path.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Like I've gotten to that point where we're coming to the end, right? We're still looking at bugs, but there's times where you just like the swinging is so like calming and relaxing. It's a point where I say this, and this means a compliment. You almost take it for granted because it's so easy just to get in the flow of things, and it almost becomes like therapeutic. Like it's relaxing to swing through the city after a hard day of working.
Are you trying to say making games is stressful, Brian?
Yeah, sometimes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's like we will continue to work on Traversal till the producers tell us we can't work on it anymore.
And so that is it, guys. It's got to ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk. There's some of the colored beams of light we kind of see now and again on the map. I'm assuming they represent things that we can do, but what are those particular things?
Oh, the beams.
Yeah.
So basically, is you can go to you can hit pause and go look at the pause menu, right? But like we want to keep Spider-Man moving, so you basically just kind of ping the world, and your kind of visors gives you a view of all the activities in the area. So like the green represents one of Peter's old backpacks, and there's a collectible in there that kind of gives you a little bit more of the history of his 8 years of being Spider-Man. You'll see red is for the active crimes in the area, and then there's ones for basic research stations. So research stations are these quests that you can go on, and the research stations are actually run by Harry Osborn, your best friend, who's out of town. And he's like, hey, Pete, can you swing by? You're a smart guy. Can you? But he doesn't know you're Spider-Man. So he just thinks you're this smart scientist who's going to solve these problems. But of course, we solve them as Spider-Man. So we have all these, and these are just a handful of the activities that you can do in the world.
So I just saw the high five, and I was
it's
like,
one of those
so
things. We just like the beams are lighters. Kind of, we want you to be able to get where you want to go quickly without kind of stopping the game.
This is amazing. I'm a little worried that I think we're coming to the end of our time here on stage.
No, and
I'm not sure I want to king off now. Like
oh
now,
yeah, now you got to the shock.
Well, now we're gonna have to carry on, guys, because I need to see what happens here.
So I mean, this, like I said, we wanted to bring a lot of villains to E3. So this is actually the Shocker, who you meet early on in the game, and of course he.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're happy. Here's the Shocker for you, and Shocker is robbing a bank, so we got to take care of business.
Classic bad guy movie.
Exactly.
Don't rob a bank.
Yep.
Or banks in New York City.
It's a very fancy bank.
It's a very fancy bank. So this is what you call like a boss battle?
This would be a boss encounter. So you actually, early on in the game, will run into Shocker. He actually ends up robbing somewhere else, and you actually chase him down, and eventually later on, he's trying to finish the job, and it's your job to stop him.
It looks. And
we'll have other villains that we haven't revealed yet as well.
Oh, you still haven't revealed more?
Yeah,
even after last night.
We didn't figure this would be enough. So we have. Again, it's like one of those things you just need. You need some great boss fights and a lot of villains to have that true superhero experience.
This is incredible. What do you think? Are we nearing the end of this boss fight? Do you reckon?
Actually, it's going to probably go on for a little bit. It's the tougher